Yes, indeed. This is Professor David Steinberg of the SteinbergFiles.com. Well, another day and more revelations about the Benghazi cover-up. This is reported by Larry Bell in Forbes magazine. Story begins as follows. Just 1 hour after the 7-hour-long terror attack upon the U.S. consulate in Benghazi began, our Commander-in-Chief, Vice President, Secretary of Defense, and their national security team gathered together in the Oval Office, listening to phone calls from American defenders desperately under siege, and watching real-time video developments from Benghazi, from a drone circling over the site, over the consulate site. Yet they sent no military aid that might have intervened in time to save lives. Well, that's all very interesting. President Obama has never mentioned that such a meeting took place. Did it? He's refusing to answer questions. The Obama administration line is that we need an investigation and the results will be released, conveniently, after the election. But an investigation of what? Either there was such a meeting or there wasn't. That's not a hard question to ask. In fact, that's a yes or no question. President Obama refuses to answer that question. And of course, the lamestream media refuses to ask him. And now I know you folks with the quote unquote major media, the lamestream media, you're not going to ask that question. You're not journalists. You're propagandists working for the re-elect Obama campaign. I understand all that. But my hope is that maybe, just possibly, somewhere out there, at a local television station, or radio station, or newspaper, maybe there could just possibly be someone who is still a journalist and will ask the president these basic questions. Because the American people have a right to know. The American people have a right to know, even if the president believes we are his subjects and we don't. Question number one. Mr. Obama, on 9/11, did you attend a meeting about Libya? That's a yes or no question. Either you did or you didn't. Come clean about it. Question two. If this meeting did indeed take place, did you review emails from Benghazi requesting military assistance? Another yes or no question. We don't need an investigation to answer these questions. You either went to a meeting and got those emails or you didn't. Did you, Mr. President, see the live feed from the drone monitoring the Benghazi consulate attack? We now know there was a drone monitoring the Benghazi consulate attack, and we now know that that drone fed live video to a number of places, including the White House. Did you see it, Mr. President? Next question. Did anyone at the meeting suggest that the attack was a response to a YouTube video? That was your administration's line for 2 weeks. Did anyone suggest that as a possible alternative? Number 5. Did you discuss using readily available military resources to aid the Americans under siege in Benghazi? We now know that there were military resources in Benghazi itself. CIA operatives that were told to stand down, told not to aid the consulate. We now know that military teams were readied in Italy, 1 to 2 hours away, assembled, ready to go. Did you discuss using those resources? And then the most important question of all. Did you, Mr. President, make the decision not to deploy military units in order to rescue the Americans in Benghazi? And if you did make that decision not to deploy those military resources, why? Why, Mr. President, did you refuse to come to the aid of Americans who were desperately under siege in Benghazi? Those are the questions. What do we need an investigation for? Either the meeting took place and the president gave the order not to aid the Americans under attack, or it didn't. We have reports that the meeting did indeed take place, and yet it has never been mentioned, never discussed. The only thing that came out of the Obama administration for 2 weeks is that this was a spontaneous demonstration in response to a YouTube video. Well, let me ask you this. If it was spontaneous, if it just happened all of a sudden, why would these people be meeting? Why would we have a drone over the consulate site? A lot of questions, aren't there? And we deserve some answers. This is a cover-up of the most disgraceful kind, and the media are the administration's accessories. We, the people, deserve answers. Demand answers. This is Professor David Steinberg of thesteinbergfiles.com.